Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Joe Czajkowski. I run Joe Czajkowski Farm in Lakeside Organics of Hadley. We farm about 400 acres in Hadley and the surrounding towns. My family has always farmed, period. That's all we've ever done. To say something interesting about our farm, in 2010 the United Nations came out with a watch list of most endangered locations, and that included the number 83 on the list was the cultural landscapes of Hadley, which is the land around the original stockade. And that's number 83 on the UN worldwide watch list of most endangered locations from development pressure. And that's kind of neat, and we've recently preserved that for with the Mass Viability Program to protect that from future development. We have some wonderful resources. Our land is great, our climate is very good. We're also in a great area to sell things, and UMass is a city right at our doorstep. And UMass has been great to work with. Ken and Chris and Evelyn and Wayne and Dave have been supportive of this right from the start. We started supplying the top of the campus restaurant about 10 years ago, and it was just Mickey Mouse amounts of stuff, like 7 bags of peeled squash or something. But then when Ken came to UMass, he took a real interest in trying to get local products into the college. And it's grown every year. I think sales now are about $300,000 a year, and that's a big help. That helps keep the money in the local community. It helps preserve open space. It helps provide better and fresher fruits and vegetables for the students. It helps a lot of people, and in a world where people don't really appreciate it, the farmers truly do. It's been a big help, especially at a time when the tobacco business has fallen off significantly. And I think this has made a difference because it kept some of the farmland as farmland, because there was a market for products that they could grow once the tobacco business was decimated. It's worked well. UMass takes the time and trouble and effort to separate out the local items in each order they place. They place three orders a week for each dining hall, and then some of the food services like catering and the restaurant. We deliver 3 times a week. We also take a lot of calls. While we're loading the truck, we're usually getting calls from the dining halls of things they're short on or things they want added, which is nice because we're only a mile and a half away, so it works. There comes a cutoff point where we have to stop taking the calls for add-ons, otherwise the truck will never leave. We have good vegetables and fruit. We also are HACCPs and GAP and GMP certified. We also carry all the proper insurances to sell to the colleges and to any institution. And I think that makes a difference. We send samples to Northeast Labs to make sure our cutting boards and other equipment are safe and clean. I don't know too many other farms or purveyors in the area who do that, but I think it's necessary to be responsible to provide safe food for anybody. If ever there was a problem, it would be sad for a lot of reasons. So we try to avoid that and try to keep things nice. We've recently built a new facility. They're working on the electrical today, and we should be in it within another 2 weeks. And that's already HACCP and GAP certified, so we can ship from there. UMass has been supportive more than anybody else. They've led the way, and it also makes it possible to help others, because when we're pulling products together, for UMass, it makes sense to pull products together for the other local schools like Chicopee or Amherst, or the nursery schools or the preschool programs or the hospitals, because we're out running around getting the stuff anyhow. So it's kind of like an anchor store at a mall. Now it's worth going. And so we do, and it helps others like the nursery schools and the others that probably wouldn't justify serving because they have really little bellies and they don't eat that much. If I were to say we have one weakness, it would be that our bookkeeping can be lax. That's something I've learned about in the last few years. That's probably our weakest problem. I'm a farmer at heart, and I see paperwork is just an awful waste product of farming. But we have a new bookkeeper, and we're working on that. That's something that I think every farmer starting out might want to take a look at before they make so many mistakes, which are expensive, because you can lose a lot of money in the office if you can be a good farmer and love what you do, but that's important. And now we're working with Florence and some of the other people at UMass to make sure our bookkeeping is better. I don't know where all the invoices go, but we're working on correcting that problem, and I think we're making some good progress. I think the future looks bright with UMass. They've been great on adding new items every year. We sit down with Chris or Ken every winter and go over with seed catalogs and go over what they might like or what they might like to try. It's been nice. It's been very nice. And once again, I thank them for their support. I would like to bring up another topic, and that's a problem a lot of farmers are having, and I'd like your support with this. The Department of Labor came out last summer, and they did 5-day audits at a lot of farms. And they whipped out this law from 1939, and they're catching so many farmers on it and just charging them overwhelming penalties. And the law that they caught the farmers on was that the farmers were touching other people's products. In other words, if I bought an apple or a potato from another farm, they would take away your ag exemptions retroactively for 3 years. And on my particular farm, they asked for $130,000. And it's not just me, other farmers are getting whacked left and right. I got a call from Bill Shore, who has an apple orchard, and he made ice cider. And because he added value to his farm products, they asked him for $85,100 because they said it's not an agricultural product, it's a manufactured product. And this is going on all over the country, and they opened up an office in Western Mass recently. And I'm concerned because it's going to make the farm to school program very difficult to work with. So I would ask you to take seriously writing email to Senator Cowan. And the reason why he's important is he's on the farm, he's writing the farm bill now with other senators. So they might be able to do something to make it better in the future. And I think it's very, very important. So please write Senator Cowan and tell him that you support the farmers being able to work with others. Just because they can't work together in Congress shouldn't mean that farmers can't work together. And also the Department of Labor has a responsibility to come out and say what their definition of agriculture is, because their definition of agriculture is unlike anybody else's. And I think they were remiss in not getting that communicated earlier. But they've never come out like they have recently, and I really would ask that you take the time and just write a short email. And thank you again. Say that again?
Is there a section or somehow where to refer to that thing?
Just write, that's a good question.
We'll see if we can send an email with that information, and then people can act on it.
Yeah, just farmers' difficulties with DOL. I don't know if there's a scroll down for that, but there should be.
I'd like to say something else about that too, which is that the regional administrator for the USDA Food and Nutrition Service, which is the overseer of school meals, is personally investigating this and learning about it and wanting his department in USDA to kind of go beat on labor and say you're keeping us from doing our job. So if any of you are in school food service and would like to communicate with that regional administrator to tell them how important that would be to you, or if you can go to your school food service person and say, do you know this is happening, can you communicate? His name is James Arena DeRosa, and it's the USDA Food and Nutrition Service. So we can maybe add that to Margaret's email. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Sam said earlier that when we were planning this session, we knew that we really needed to make sure that Kelly Irwin could be here, and the other person that we really wanted to make sure could be here was Joe. So we're really glad that the date and everything all worked out, and thanks a lot.